Hello, and welcome back to another FPL video. Today, I'm going to showcase to you my current FPL draft. As you can see here, I've got some placeholder names that are not going to be into my draft because I wanted to start with a clean state and build from there. I hope you enjoy such type of videos and want to see more of me building my draft. I will explain the reasoning behind every player and we'll see what will happen with the budget and where can we go. So, as usual, I'm going to be starting with the captain's choices because this for me is the most important part of the building of the FPL team, to have the best possible captain throughout the week. If you have the best possible captain, you are basically playing with one extra player, and that extra player, if he scores massively, he is going to be very beneficial for you. So, looking at the fixture difficulty rating, for the first week, I see two captain options. I see Liverpool, Ipswich away, and Newcastle Southampton at home. To be on the safe side and to see how the things are going, I will be going with two players for that first week captain's position. I will be going with Mohamed Salah, of course. He is going to be most likely the captain for the first week, but the other option to go for is called Isaac, and I'm not going to hide it, but I think he's the only 100% player into my team. I haven't made a draft without him yet. I don't see a reason to do a draft without him, so he's pretty much nailed into the game week 1 team selection. Now we have for game week 1, but we want to prepare our side for the future. So for game week 2, I see several good captain options: Spurs, Brentford, but and Leicester, but it's Fulham. But the team that I'm going to go for is Manchester City. So immediately I'm putting in Haaland. And yes, this guy's draft is Liverpool and Manchester City heavy with their best guns, honestly. So it's two premium drafts with Haaland and Salah. They are the most expensive players in the game and they're into my draft. You're going to say that if we sell Haaland, we can spread the budget elsewhere, and that will be completely true. But I don't want to start the season without him. If he is not performing or anything happens to him or City or something like that, I can always transfer him out and bring players that are of lower price. But if I start the other way around, I will not be able to fit in Haaland pretty easily because most probably I will have to sell 3 players in order to fit him in, and that's going to be difficult, and I don't see a reason to do so. Now, next up, it's going to be filling up the bench options as we usually do. As usual, I have a goalkeeper that I want to pick, but let's see if we go to a 4.0 and we delete that. Let's see who is a low owned player from a team that it's not likely to play. So Slicker from Ipswich, Virginia. Most probably I'm going to go for King or for Riversen. Let's go for Riversen. Why the hell not? Like, he is going to be the guy that is from Leicester, and he is going to be the bench option because I don't see myself picking 3 Leicester players, as I don't want to target any of them at the start. Their fixture run is not amazing. Spurs, Fulham, Villa, Palace, and Arsenal in the first 6, sorry. Yeah, Everton in between, but still Iversen is taking the notch here. As a funny thing, he started 12 games in the season when they got relegated, so there is a slight minimal chance that he is a playing keeper at some point, but at 1% I'm not going to lose any value if I sell him. Now we have our 4.0 option in the goalkeepers department. Let's go and pick our 4.0 option in the defensive department, and that is going to be Graves. I know that Harwood Bellis is an option, Faes, there is Johnson, Vestergaard, Barco is an option, Bednarek is an option, but for me Greaves is first low owned, and secondly I can use him whenever I want, and he is as nailed as it gets. This completes the budget with the defensive options that I don't want to spend money on, so we can continue forwards from that. Now let's try to fit in the big guns apart from Salah and Isaac and Haaland, as we are going to go to the players. And the player here and the team that I want to target is the second best team from last season, and that is Arsenal. I don't see myself going without an Arsenal player. It's going to be either Odegaard or Havertz. I will try to maybe fit in Havertz to see what I can build in midfield. if I go for a slightly cheaper option, but for now Odegaard hasn't left my draft since I decided to go for Salah and Haaland because Saka is too expensive for my liking and I cannot fit him, but Isaac and Odegaard, both of them together. Odegaard, if he is not performing well, he is an easy pivot to Bruno Fernandes, or I can go even down from that, as a lot of 7.5 players will most probably emerge there and we'll have a lot of options to go for. Now we have four of the best scoring sides from last season. There are two sides that I am not targeting yet. One of them is Spurs and the second is Aston Villa. You're going to say, what about Chelsea? What about Manchester United? I don't think they're that attacking, and they were that attacking compared to Spurs and Villa, who were heavily attacking. I believe that it's a no-brainer to go without any of their players. And here I have a dilemma. So one of the options is to go for Brennan Johnson, who is at 6.5. He scored 5 goals and made 12 assists. And the other guy is Kulusevski, who is pretty interesting as well, like 8 goals and 3 assists. We need to see how the starting lineup for Spurs is looking. Yes, they have European tournaments, but up until game week 3, they're in a very good position to score several goals. I know that Everton is a good defensive side, but Leicester isn't. And with the new manager, with not a lot of money to spend yet, and Everton are, yeah, good team, but still shaky, I believe that one of the Spurs boys can be an option. So here I'm going to introduce Brennan Johnson. He is a placeholder for my players. The other option here is to go for Bailey. Bailey is a very solid player and I like his potential. But he's not most probably the most nailed. There are rumors that Joao Felix will be coming. Yes, they sold Diaby, but still I don't fancy going for unknowingly going into a pick that is not nailed. If Bailey for the start of the season is nailed against West Ham and after that against Leicester and Everton, is going to be great, but I can move from Johnson, who is starting against Leicester and Everton, and then move to Aston Villa if we know who the nailed players are for Leicester and Everton once again. So that's a pretty good pivot. After that is Ipswich. We have Wolves before that. So yeah, a lot of good potential there. Aston Villa is a team that I heavily like and I enjoy owning players from them. But still, Johnson for now will complete the midfield 5 of the players that are most likely in the teams that are most likely to score goals. I know that Son is a good pick and Kunku is a good pick, who I can pivot to as well. So I have options to go for. But for now, Brennan Johnson is going to be the team. He's the placeholder for Spurs. So we are keeping him for now and we'll see where that path leads us. Next up, I need to put in an expensive player once again, and that is going to be Gvardiol. He's the neo defender that I'm going to start with the season. He has Chelsea in the first week. Yes, that's not an amazing fixture, especially away, but Gvardiol is such a great player that he can do basically everything. Ipswich, West Ham and Brentford, I like those 4 fixtures. 2 of them are at home. Ipswich at home, I believe that if you don't own Gvardiol at that game, it's going to be pretty tricky to maneuver around the fixtures, but I am not going to risk it and I'm going to Gvardiol. Now we have our semi-expensive defender. We need to fit in one more player in midfield that is with a great potential. He's a penalty taker, so that's a good thing to consider. He's nailed. He's the best attacker from their team. And no, I'm not talking about Mbeumo, who might become a very brilliant option if Tony leaves, especially since Spurs and going forward, like up until here, until Leicester at home, this guy can cause serious damage to everyone. But I'm talking about Eze. Eze for me is a pen taker. He will be the only from the trio that started last season that is going to be fit and going into the season. I know that he is not yet into full team training because he was on a holiday, but I believe when he returns, he's immediately back into it because they don't want to go without him. So yeah, Eberici Eze is a guy that I will be going for 1000%, and he's the second most nailed player after Isaac into my team, apart from an injury or something like a big blow to the Crystal Palace fixtures and form. I won't be changing him. Now we have the position of the 3 defenders, and those 3 defenders are very important because they're going to be rotating between each other, and I will be looking for players that are having pretty reasonable fixtures to go for and pretty solid players to interchange between them and have some fun with the fixtures. So looking at the fixtures, I liked how Everton fixtures look defensively, like Brighton. Bournemouth, and Leicester are going to be the 3 fixtures that I will be targeting to go for the defensive side. And the best defender, in my opinion, from their team is Mikulenko. I've created a best 4.5 cheat sheet or tier list, if you want to say it. You can go and check it out. It covers almost 30 players. After that video, you can go and check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But Mikulenko was one of the top guys. Next up, a guy with a pretty good fixture run is Aston Villa, as we mentioned. West Ham, Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich. If that's not a good run, what it is? Like, I'm immediately going for Konsa, who, in my opinion, is another defender that I put into that list, that he is in a pretty serious form, in a pretty serious contention to be one of the cheap gems of the season. He is going immediately in, and the last guy is going to be from one of the better sides to end the season. It was Crystal Palace, Brentford, West Ham, Leicester, and Everton. Even United and Chelsea can be considered somehow of a good fixtures, especially the home fixture to Chelsea and United away from home last time around. Crystal Palace performed really well. I will see if that repeats, but Andersen is going to go in. It's a toss between him and Margay, but I believe that Andersen is just a bigger threat on the set pieces, and that's why I will be going with him. Next up, the best team for the first 7 fixture to own players from defensively, in my opinion, is Chelsea. Look at that fixture on Wolves, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Forest. It doesn't look that amazing, but compared to Aston Villa 5 million keeper, Crystal Palace, yeah, a 4.5, but I like their defenders more. Maybe I can interchange with them for their keeper, but that's a bit iffy, to say the least. Then Fulham are with a 5.0 keeper, Everton are with a 5.0 keeper, Newcastle are with a 5.0 keeper. Forest is another team with a 4.0, 4.5 to be fair, but I don't know what's happening there. They have 3 keepers that can be playing. They still buy keepers, which is absurd for me. I find it really amusing that they are keep buying and buying and buying keepers. But Chelsea, to be fair, they're rumored with one guy that is going to come with from the Danish or Norwegian league, something like that. But this guy is huge. He is good with his feet. He is good on the saves. So I'm going to put Rob Sanchez, who played in a friendly, so maybe they have signed with the keeper already until you're seeing that video, because I'm recording it a little bit earlier. But still, Sanchez is in a very good position and I quite like his potential. The Chelsea keeper, whoever it is, so I'm going with the Chelsea keeper there. We're left with 10 million budget, so that means that I can go with 2 players from 5, but I'm never going to do that. And now the dilemma is, should I go with a 5.5 midfielder or a 5.5 attacker? If we go to the midfielders and we put the 5.5 price range, we have some good options like Andreas, McNeil is not bad, Elanga is okay, Hudson-Odoi is good, Ducore can be tricky, not tricky but good to own, Kluivert is an option, Adingra if he plays, Harry Wilson is an option for sure. But here there are options. If you go to the forward line though, and we sort it with 5.5 once again, there is Joao Pedro, who is injured at the moment, Archer, who joined back Aston Villa, and I'm not sure how much time he's going to get. Edward not playing. Rowe, we don't know if he's playing. There is a guy called Armstrong, who is in a good position to start. We have several options here, but honestly, the guys that are going to be playing fully are Armstrong and Pedro, and that doesn't excite me too much. So I will be going for a midfielder that is a player with a 5.5, and that still is going to be Andreas. He's on all set pieces, most probably he's on pens, and he's facing Leicester and Ipswich. Let's be real, if that are not good fixtures, I don't know what they are. United away from home, this is a return for him to Old Trafford, as he's a youth academy graduate from the United side, so maybe he wants to prove that they were wrong to let him go. So I will be going with Andreas, and most probably he will take some penalties. That's not confirmed, don't count me accountable if he doesn't, but still, Andreas a really solid player. And the final guy here, I'm not going to surprise anyone if I say I'm going with a 4.5 option. I believe there is a player called Stewart. I believe that he has a potential to play some minutes. So I might go for him. He is selected by 1% of the team. Fraser is the most selected, so I will go for this Stewart guy now that I have one Ipswich, one Leicester, and one Southampton player. So that's in a good position. I can easily add one or two players if they start overperforming and doing something. So yeah, I feel completely delighted with that draft. I'm going to make the transfers and I'm going to showcase to you how my lineup is going to look in the first week. So for now, it's going to be this and this. West Ham away. It's a tricky fixture for Aston Villa. And here, of course, I'm not going to go with Stewart instead of Haaland. And Sanchez is going to go instead of Iversen. Salah will get the armband. Isaac will be the vice captain for now. Saving the team. This is how the team is going to look for game week 1 up until now. As you know, Johnson can change. Andreas can change. Basically, the rest of the players and Sanchez can change. But the rest of the players I feel pretty confident. So around 10 of the players are in, like Haaland, Isaac, Salah, Eze, Odegaard, Andersen, Gvardio, Konsa. Those players seems nailed for me, and barring any injuries, I'm most probably going to go for them. I hope you enjoy such type of videos where I explain my draft and you have a pretty good understanding of why I'm picking certain players. I hope you like it. If you do, don't forget to subscribe, put down a comment, do all those great stuff just to support me. I'll be soon releasing a mini league announcement, so stay tuned for that. It's going to come next week and it's going to be interesting for you to join my league for sure. I hope you're enjoying those videos. I hope you're having a good time. I'll be coming back pretty soon with the streams after my vacation. Everything will come back to normal. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.